Hey, what's going on, y'all? Eric Moser here with Code Red Conversations. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate y'all stopping in on this short notice video I put out, but I feel like the topic is definitely worthwhile and will be to your benefit. In today's video, or in today's time that I have with you, I'm going to be addressing the issue that's on screen. It was the recent incident where a NYPD officer. What's up, man?
Go yeah.
My tag team partner is running late, but we're going to proceed. Yeah, and today, what's up, Ray?
Hey, what's up?
Good seeing you, man.
Same here. How's everybody?
Hey, just letting everyone know that gotta get in screen. Let me move this here and let you get in screen here. Okay, move on over a little bit.
No, this way, man. Yeah, come on. Yeah, I'm confused.
And for those of y'all that aren't familiar with Ray Reyes, he was my old sergeant back in the day, and he is currently he retired from Metro,
correct?
But he's currently working for
University Police.
University Police.
Cop
so what's that?
We call it cop light. But we do stuff. We get into some stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. But today's video, I sent you what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be discussing that NYPD officer who got ran over by that one young girl who was a anti-cop,
right?
Hated cops. Make sure you're close to this because I want to make sure we register. She was totally anti-cop.
I haven't seen this video.
Oh, so that's going to be even better.
Yeah,
because we're going to get a live reaction.
Okay, good.
What we're going to do, we're going to show you a news clip and where they talk about what went on. And then she had a podcast where she definitely didn't mince her words about how much she hated cops.
Okay.
So as it goes on, we're going to discuss whether it could be articulated whether this was intentional or not. And I already have my thoughts because I did what y'all didn't have to do. I listened to the whole nearly 2 hours worth of her podcast interview. Okay. And it was sickening, to say the least, but I think it revealed a lot. And it also reveals a lot of what's going on in our culture today. Well, let me get big time. Let me get our screen up here, our chat's running. Move this out of the way. Not private chat. I need the. Here we go. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Oh, if you haven't seen this one or heard this one, this will be a good conversation piece, y'all. Y'all will. I don't want to say it's a good one because it's a serious tragedy because this officer didn't have to lose his life, especially the way he did. It made it even more tragic. But we'll get the news clip up and running, and comment in. Make sure you post your comments in the comment section, so we can have a nice spirited dialogue. Hey, Tina, what's going on? She was the old CO buddy of mine, CO Sergeant.
Cool. Nice. Good to have law enforcement people on here. And all kinds of people. Everybody.
No question. Yeah, exactly.
Everybody.
Exactly. So we're going to get this video up flying here. You're going to be out of the screen there for a second, Ray.
Okay, that's all right.
Let me know if there's any audio issues, if y'all can hear it or not.
Okay.
We should be good to go.
Court to face charges in that crash that cost the 32-year-old her freedom and a veteran police officer his life. That officer run down while directing traffic at the scene of another deadly accident. Tonight News 4's John Chandler reports from Fresh Meadows, Queens, with more on how New York's finest are now paying tribute to that officer who they say paid the ultimate price for someone else's mistake, John.
Anastasios Sakos is his name.
Queens, black bunting hanging in tribute to that fallen officer. A loss felt not just here at this precinct, but at precincts throughout the city. Meanwhile, Jessica Beauvais facing at least 13 charges, including aggravated manslaughter and vehicular manslaughter. She was arraigned just hours ago in a Queens courtroom, and police say she told the judge not only was she driving drunk, she had smoked pot before getting behind the wheel.
I'm sorry.
A tearful apology from Jessica Beauvais.
I'm sorry about everything you said.
Sorry, the 32-year-old says, for hitting and killing Officer Anastasio Sakos while driving drunk. But sorry, Pat Lynch says, is too late to save the father of two.
Yes, she's sorry. Not for the death, but that she got caught.
The PBA president spoke moments after Beauvais' family left the Queens courthouse, saying nothing. Outside the Hempstead home she shares with her son, neighbors were stunned.
When someone drives irresponsibly, they're taking it's not about them. It's about the other person. So this innocent family, I'm just so sorry.
Police say Beauvais was drunk, nearly twice the legal limit in the early morning hours when she struck Officer Sakos, then tried to flee.
Her choices led to the death of a New York City police officer.
The 14-year vet of the NYPD was directing traffic from a fatal car crash on the Long Island Expressway.
I knew him for years, describe him as the best of the best.
While a caravan of police escorted the officer's body to the New York City Medical Examiner's office, neighbors echoed praise for the 43-year-old Sakos from outside his Long Island home to his own Flushing community.
I feel like I just lost my breath. I'm still shaking. I am just at a loss for words.
I'm just sad because his kids will never.
Sorry.
They will never know his father. And it's just, I can't take this anymore.
Sakos leaves behind a wife, a 6-year-old daughter, and a 3-year-old son.
We now have a family that is devastated, that will never be put back together.
Well, the officer and his family had just moved to their new Long Island community back in September when they bought their house. His funeral arrangements are still pending. As for Jessica Beauvais, she faces 13 counts in the complaint, and she is remaining held tonight without bail. We are live in Fresh Meadows section of Queens. I'm John Chandler, News 4 New York.
Man, what are your thoughts so far, bro?
It's just apparently it's just another person driving intoxicated and obviously not responsible. And you know, how many times we've been on point intersection control that could happen to any one of us, right? We know that.
Right.
I know the area because I'm from there. I know he's on. I know that he's on the Long Island Expressway, which is a busy place, heavily traveled.
Right.
And apparently we have a young lady that drunk, high, whatever you want to call it, and drives irresponsibly.
Both.
Yeah, drunk and
high, smoking weed,
yeah,
and drinking.
So it's pretty irresponsible, and that's, I mean, she has to be held accountable for that. That's the bottom line. So I'm presuming from what I'm seeing here that she will probably end up doing some time for this. How much time, I don't know, but I know that you brought up some things about when you're watching her podcast, which I haven't been privileged to see yet. However, portions of it when we will see it, I'm sure. We'll probably be in agreement about some of the things that she's saying because she has great anti-sentiment for police.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little disappointing. There were only a couple of news outlets. Tina, 3 times the legal limit, and it's really there was a few news outlets went into detail and actually showed a few of the clips of her spewing out her anti-cop rage, her rage.
Right.
But the vast majority that I saw, even local, because you can usually rely on local news to be a little bit more legit,
right,
with their news as opposed to the mainstream media. Right. I mean, I can go on and on. Right. Anybody, those out there following me, they already know how I feel about mainstream media.
I'm the same way.
And matter of fact, I'm actually working on a video that is going to go into detail. I really want people to get a better understanding of how they manipulate and how they lie.
Exactly.
But just imagine, just for the sake of conversation, I want to know what y'all think. Had this been a police officer who, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, this was a white cop who hated Black Lives Matter. He got drunk and then he ran into a Black Lives Matter rally and ran over somebody. How much of the fact that he hated BLM, how often do you think that would have been in the news?
It would have been all over. It would have been on CNN and MSNBC and all your left networks that cover that, and it would have been. I mean, the whole world would have known about it.
It would have been all we heard about.
Oh, absolutely.
Dwayne said it's one thing to drink and drive in the middle of the night or something like that, but middle of the freaking day. Actually, I think it was at night. I think it was at night, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look at the details, but I think it was at night. But it's regardless of what time it is, right. It's still so irresponsible.
Man, look, you got Uber,
and I know people have done it before. Yeah, and I would dare say that probably the majority of people watching at one point or another have driven when they shouldn't have.
Right.
I don't drink typically.
Good.
But I remember one time when I graduated. This is crazy. I'm putting all kinds of my business out there, but it's okay. I graduated the police academy, and then some of the tax staff was like, "Man, come on!" They knew me. They knew they already knew me before I came out to the streets, and they were like, "Come on, man, just take a couple of shots, just for me." And I was like, "Okay, we graduated the police academy. Sure. Everybody's kind of letting their guard down." So then I took a couple of shots, and me not being a drinker, man, I don't even know what it was, but that hit me like a ton of bricks.
Right.
I chilled out for a while, drank a lot of water, didn't do anything, but then when I went home, I was driving home, and I fell asleep.
Wow.
On the Flamingo overpass, right over the 50, getting ready to exit, get onto the 15.
Right.
I fell asleep for like probably 30 seconds.
Right.
And then I woke up and I was like, oh crap! And I took off and I was driving. And dude, I hadn't even started the field training yet.
Oh man,
field training was coming up like in a couple of days. That could have been it for me right there. Man.
Yeah, we've had a few young people do that recently, and they got terminated.
But it just shows how oftentimes we think that we're okay.
Right.
People think that, and that was the first and last time anything like that ever happened to me. Right. And I wasn't a kid, dude. I was like 37 years old. Sure. I was just stupid. Yeah. And then if somebody who didn't know me probably would have said, "Oh, look at Moser over there, man. What the heck? Like he's a driving drunk." Right. And it's like, dude, I could count probably how many times I had alcohol on my two hands in my life.
Right. It's just not your thing.
It just is.
Good.
You know, I saw too many people. You know, growing up, just bunch of drunks. And I mean, if people want to drink, so be it. But it's just not my thing. But it just showed. But I was saying that how so many people could easily get caught up in a moment where you think you're okay, but you're really not.
Right.
And you know, but yet, JD's on here. JD saying, "What's up, Ray? Brandon."
Oh, Brandon, what's up, there, kid? How you doing?
But back on topic, y'all. So I'm just kind of letting y'all know a little bit more about me. I'm sitting over here and we talk about these issues, but all y'all out there that know me, Tina, JD, y'all know this brother here ain't perfect. Y'all already know. I don't even have to go into detail on that. But going back to what I was saying, had the roles been reversed, and this been a white cop, in particularly a white cop, well, let's just say he had a few posts on Facebook talking about how much he can't stand Black Lives Matter, the movement.
Right.
And then he ran over a girl or a guy who was in BLM. Oh my God.
Oh no, it'd be crazy.
It would have been.
We'd have rioting.
Right.
Yeah, we'd have rioting.
Protests. The president would have gotten up there talking about it.
Right.
He would have enacted some more goofy behind policies. It would have just been a train wreck. But we have this situation with her, and you hear next to nothing about it. There have been some reports on it, but today we're going to make sure we take care of that. We're going to go into detail.
So we want you to know that this young lady doesn't. I won't even use her name, but I'll just say that this young lady, for all intents and purposes, has a lot of anti-sentiment towards the police. And when we see it, and as you said, and as you alluded to, there's a probability that maybe this was an intentional act as opposed to a mistake. And, you know, sometimes people, when they're in that state of mind, they do things that they don't normally do. And driving drunk was one of them, but she also could have had that malice inside of her.
Yeah.
And just say, you know, I'm going to run this guy over.
And like, today we're not going to go through all the details, obviously, because it was almost 2 hours. And I don't want to, you know, none of us have the time, and I don't want to make y'all suffer like that, for one. But just listening to her, I listened to it this Saturday, and just listening to her tirade, her rants, on and on and on. And I'm giving you the best nuggets. I'm gonna try to give you the best nuggets, the ones that really moved me, and made me think, and it just started painting the picture. And I just had to ask the question, is it possible that she could have been under the influence? And we all know what alcohol, what marijuana does.
Sure.
It lowers your inhibitions.
Right.
You do things that you wouldn't normally do.
Right.
So I just want to ask the question. I want y'all to make up your own mind. We're not prosecuting attorneys. That's not our job, but just for a conversation. But I just want to mention what Tina said here. She said, I knew nothing about it until you posted it. Okay. And this has been like the circles I run, like, because I deal with a lot of these things. Right. I deal with a lot of police shootings, police confrontations, bad things happening to cops, police officers being killed. I get that on my news feed a lot, whether it's through YouTube, right, or the emails I get, or people just sending stuff like that to me because they know I talk about these issues. But it shows how little publicity this has received, because a lot of people are saying, just in the comments here alone, in the chat here alone, that they hadn't seen.
Well, please, after you see this, please share it. I mean,
please
share it. Let's get it out, because I mean that's how it works. It's just that trickle effect, and hopefully your friends of friends of friends, and we'll get a couple of thousand people, or even more than that. But you want people to be aware that there's a lot of sides to these types of stories.
Oh my gosh.
And even if the idea that you brought up, that say for example, that officer was drunk and then just hit this person accidentally, and this person happens to be a BLM advocate, and say this he never said anything negative about BLM. He just did his job, did his thing, but he made a big mistake. But do you think they would have turned this into a huge story? Yeah. So even without, because I'm going to venture to say that most police are against the BLM movement, because there's a lot of negativity that's attached to what they say and what they believe in.
Right.
And most police officers just don't think that way or believe that way. And we have that right to do that, as you have your right to believe what you want.
Very true. Very true.
Anyway, but
no, that's good, man. No, that's good, because it's and those of us who have dug into BLM, I've read multiple articles. I've listened to the founders themselves think their own words.
Right.
And as a patriotic, proudly patriotic Black man over here, former law enforcement, served my country in the military.
That's right.
Knowing that they are trained Marxists and they have these far left ideologies, I just can't see myself rocking with these dudes. They're just and to add on top of that is their premise is primarily built on a foundation of distortions and lies.
Right.
The fact that cops are out there just running and gunning Black and brown folks, like left and right. I can't even co-sign with none of that.
No, absolutely.
Obviously, anyone with it who has some semblance of morals understands that people matter regardless of what their ethnicity is. Black, brown, white, red, yellow.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't have to co-sign or validate myself, or by having to continually say that to appease a group of people. Like I said, anyone out there that knows me knows where I stand on these kind of issues.
Right.
So, but now we're at a position that if you don't go along with their whole movement, I mean, it's taking over. It's taking over everywhere. Yeah. But let me get into the main content of this, because I don't want to waste time without discussing these important issues. I want to get to this video. I want to play clips, and we'll stop it here and there, and we'll talk about it.
Sounds good.
Real quick, I want to share what Don said. I would rather go back to a time where we don't know what everyone thinks. The social media rants create a whole new mess. Yeah, man. But hey, that's where we are now.
Yeah.
We're in a time now where social media is everything.
Well, I used to go down, when I was a kid, I used to go down and get the New York Post. Quincy went to the delicatessen or the corner store, and now you just look on your phone and bam, you got it all. So I mean, I haven't bought a newspaper in years.
And I think that also plays into the role as to why things look so bad.
Yeah,
like things look so bad now is because we have access to so much information.
It's instantaneous. It just comes right out. So.
No doubt. It's like the media intentionally is seeking stories to portray the police negatively. You think that is exactly what they're doing.
Thank you, Tina. That was well said. Can't say it any better than that.
That's it. It's right. That is exactly what they're doing.
It is. It is.
I mean, you think about it. Every time a white cop, not every time, but oftentimes,
Right.
every time a white officer shoots a black suspect, they don't even have all the information. They don't even have all the facts, and they're just making assumptions. Oh, it was they shot an unarmed black man, and then when you look at you finally get all the details,
The totality of circumstances. There's some issues that
right,
and we know that 99% of the time, but
over 99%.
yeah,
honestly,
yeah, no, actually, you're
getting into fractions when you look at it, how infrequently police officers shoot someone who's unarmed.
Well, I remember you've said before, and I've said it before. Listen, just because someone's unarmed doesn't make them not deadly. They can be very deadly when they're unarmed because there's the multitude of things, and things that are around you can become deadly. Just backing up from a person who's being aggressive. You could be an officer and just fall off the curb and break your back, break your hip. I mean, stuff like that happens. So somebody can be very dangerous even if they're unarmed. Period.
No question.
Sometimes we do shoot people who are unarmed, but doesn't mean they're not deadly.
No doubt. No doubt. And it could be like, let's say, just from a physical stature. How tall are you? Well, I don't want to put you out.
Well, no, that's okay. Listen, I'm just about 5'7", a little bit below, but just about 5'7". Yeah, and 155 pounds is rock solid.
On a good day, 155. With a couple of bricks in your pocket.
I've been the same weight since I joined this department. So I mean, since I joined the police.
Since 8th grade, bro.
Since 8th grade, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, no, you're right. So you're saying something about stature?
No, but let's just say no. But see, like I love clowning my boy because first of all, I know he can take it, and so that makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah,
but
fun,
yeah, but but you have a background. Like what's your background as far as training goes?
I did karate growing up. I did a little jujitsu. I went in the police department. I used to box professionally when I was younger. I did karate for like 10 years as a youngster. So, I mean, I have some self-defense background. So if I hit somebody, I know how to hit them. If I have to take somebody down, I kind of know how to take them down.
And you know how to control them when they're on the ground.
Yeah, sure. So I have some. I'm not an expert, but I'm good.
But the fact that you weren't the biggest dude out there,
right? Your
skill set definitely helped you.
Well, I had to. And listen, but there's a lot of guys like your size who don't do anything, and they might just pump a little iron. There's a lot more to it, and you could be very, very strategic if you're a big person, because the reality is most people won't confront you the same way they'll confront.
No, that's very true.
But then there are times also just your presence and the way you carry yourself and the command presence and your verbal interaction. That's worked for me over many years. I've been very fortunate.
Right.
I've been very fortunate not to get, beat down or seriously hurt in any way. I've been hurt a few times, but in general, I've been pretty fortunate. And I think a lot of it, as we go back to it over and over, if you're in the profession of policing or law enforcement or parole and probation or inside the prison system or Clark County Detention Center, you just have to have some ability to handle people and handle yourself.
No,
you don't have to be Bruce Lee. You don't have to be, these incredible MMA type fighters, but you have to have some skill set to offset potential deadly encounters or potential very physical encounters where you can get hurt, because it's easier. It's like stepping back. You can fall.
Yeah, no question, man. No question. And I think that, man, like I said, we can go on and on. And I just want to make this quick point, but I brought that up, the fact that when it comes to the unarmed and deadly discussion, if Ray had no skills, and then maybe it was my size, my current skill set. Like I said, I got the karate background, did BJJ, I boxed, not on a professional level, did Muay Thai, some Krav Maga, some other styles I dabbled in. So I was always confident when I was out there on the streets in dealing with the bad guy.
Right.
Whereas if you had someone your size, or let's just say it was a female,
right,
and you had to deal with her. Right. Let's say you're the suspect, and there was a female cop,
sure,
and all she has is what the academy gave her,
right.
A couple of hours of defensive tactics.
It's not enough.
It isn't.
It's not.
The threat level. You could have no gun, and you could be dead. You could be potentially deadly to her. None whatsoever. Absolutely. And I just I really want that to settle in people's minds and let people understand that these two hands right here, elbows, knees, kicks, you can kill someone with that.
Well, I'll bring up. There was an incident involving a sergeant in our agency several years ago that ended up being attacked by a fighter. He was actually a boxer.
Oh, wow.
Omar Brisbane was his name. He's
a fighter?
Yeah, he was a fighter. Yeah.
Okay.
And I forget what the call was, but the female sergeant stopped him, and then he proceeded to just, punch her, strike her on the ground, broke her jaw, broke her eye socket. And I'm not saying that she wasn't skilled, but I'm saying I think she was just taken aback. She was taken by surprise, and he was a
So the female. So it was Omar was attacked the former pro boxer.
He was a pro boxer at the time,
and he attacked the female officer.
And he attacked the female, and she was a sergeant.
Sergeant.
And I remember when that happened. I bet you if JD's still on, he probably remembers this too. But
about when did this happen?
I'm going to say it's going to be about maybe 8 years ago now. I think 8 to 10 years.
2015.
Yeah, something like that. But no, it was kind of trying. I remember what had happened to her, and then over time, she came back to work, but obviously never the same. I don't think she went back to the street. But and I'm not saying that she wasn't skilled, but I'm saying there was a big size differential there, and she maybe didn't even have the time to deploy any type of weapon. But I think he just turned around and boom, clocked her, and then he's a big guy. She's my size, so the little that I might have had for something like that, if I had a little bit of skill, I might know how to block it or parry or get out of the way, sidestep, go to a weapon. Go to one of my less lethal options, or maybe even lethal with a guy like that, because he's big, he's strong. And, when you think about that.
And if you had known him, maybe you could have articulated it.
Yeah.
I know this guy's a pro boxer.
Big,
he was coming after me, especially her.
Yeah, right.
Especially she could have articulated it easily.
Absolutely.
But sorry, y'all got a little sidetracked. But I think that could be very beneficial. That could be very helpful. Let's get to the main gist of what we're trying to do here. We'll get to this video, and I'll play a little clip. And then we'll jump right in to the conversation. Where are we at here? Okay.
With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce.
Whoops, sorry about that. I'm messing up. Excuse me.
Like, dirty pussy.
Oh, real quick. By the way, the language is terrible.
Made to be as to why they are shooting.
Okay, let me stop right here, real quick. The language. If you got kids around, forgive me. I should have let y'all know that ahead of time. But her mouth is nasty, as you can clearly hear. So just a little FYI. The first clip I'm showing you today, first clip I'm sharing with you right now, is her talking about the oath of office that officers take. And then she's going to go into her critique. So let me back up a little bit. This thing is not wanting to cooperate with me, y'all.
Why she not here? I don't want to sound like I'm being offensive, but that's the fucking truth for me. I want to talk about the ignorance that is the effect that you are not supposed to be afraid of your position. Like, that's kind of like against the rules. And I'm literally trying to find it for y'all. I printed it and I want to read it. Okay, here it is. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously, appropriately, without fear, right? Like I'm afraid, I felt threatened, I was in fear for my life. Without fear is what they say, right? Malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. So I'd like to know at which point that became a.
If it's not loud enough, y'all, I'm working real quick to try to get the volume up, but I think I might be maxed out here. I did share the audio. Let me try one thing real quick. Bear with me. I'm going to take it down. I'm going to stop the screen share. I'm going to bring it back up. Video file. I appreciate y'all's patience in dealing with me here. I'm not sure if the volume could be any better here.
So I'd like to know at which point.
Yeah, let me know if you hear if okay, Cavante said it's fine on his end.
Good.
That became an actual argument that people can viably say out of their fucking mouths as to why they are shooting and killing people on the streets. I'm just curious. If you said that you were signing up for this dangerous job, right? And part of that dangerous job is that you are not supposed to be afraid, because part of that job is people might try to fucking kill you. That's what you're signing up for, is potential death, right? Like in the fucking army. That's what you signed up for. How is that a viable argument? That people can really keep saying, I was afraid.
Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit. What she's saying is that as officers, in the oath that we take when we were swearing in and we're about to get our badges pinned on, or after we've got our badges, and we say that we're going to fulfill our duties without fear, that should eliminate, then we shouldn't be using the rationale or using the argument if we're ever in a potentially deadly encounter. We should never use the argument that we were in fear for our safety. What do you say? And comment down below what your thoughts are, folks.
Well, young lady, let me tell you something. All right?
Make sure you're close to
what we do is, listen, in policing, we face encounters on a daily basis. And as human beings, try to understand that we don't change with training, necessarily speaking. We just identify threats better, and we deal with them because we have some tools and some training that allows us to mitigate those threats. But fear is a natural human emotion. And if I'm responding to a call or a domestic and I'm hearing loud screaming and something that sounds very violent and somebody being struck or being hit or being stabbed or being shot, there's an element of fear because we're human beings. Because our level of anxiety rises. But with our training and with what we've learned over time, so we know that we have to act. That's part of it. So I know that I'm acting and I'm gonna do something to stop this action. I have to do something. But when we say without fear, we're doing it because we're going to do it, because this is our oath, no matter what. But there is fear present because we're human beings. So the element of fear is always going to be there to some degree. And the threat assessment. Now, I can tell you many times I've been in confrontations where I think about it after the fact. What I say is I have threat assessment and I act. That's normally what we do. And then we say many times after, wow, man, that could have went really south and bad. And there's like a level of fear and anxiety that is released from me. So I guess the way that you're articulating it is not correct in my book, in my understanding, because we're human beings and we have that level of fear, but we train to respond to it and to stop it. And many times when we're dealing, we're not necessarily thinking of fears like, oh, I'm scared to death. I mean, I can't think of that. I mean, I knew there were times where I'm going to the store and I said, well, if we're going to get shot, we're going to get shot. But we got to go in there because we have to stop somebody. We got to do something. And we go in there and then we gasp after us, man. Thank God. Okay, we're okay, man.
No
we're okay.
question.
But I can't tell you the adrenaline dump I get from that. It's amazing. I feel incredible gratification, and I know you do too. The times that we've dealt with people where it could have went south, but where we did numerous things, whether it be de-escalation or we employed good defensive tactics or we used good verbal de-escalation, whatever it is. So this whole
just took control, like
just took control,
like I said, verbal commands, and that suspect knew we meant business, and then they complied.
Right, and I've been fortunate with that so many times, and a lot of that's very important too, because and a lot of that's part of de-escalation because you have good command presence. Like when you get to somebody and they know you know what you're talking about, and they tell the way you carry yourself and the way you look in uniform, a lot of times that stops situations right there because people are looking and they sizing you up. They size you up.
Oh, absolutely.
So when they look at an officer and he looks good in his uniform and he looks like he's a little built and he's standing to his side, he's protecting his gun side and he's using good verbal commands, and that that decreases a lot of use of force incidents. It really does. And then so. And not to get off the topic, but I just want this young lady, and my point is this: you can tell most of it's very derogatory about police, but we're entitled to be fearful. but we have to act.
I think the thing that you hit it on the head best, man. This is an oath. This is like words that are on there.
Right.
And when they reference without fear, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden I pin on a badge and you said this, and then boom, all of a sudden I'm a robot and I go out there now and I police and I don't have fear or concern. I can remember early on I think I was still in field training or I was finishing up field training. And there was a guy in the Flamingo. The call was that this lady was in this hotel room and being held hostage, basically,
right,
at gunpoint. We called SWAT. Our sergeant called SWAT. For some reason, SWAT said they ain't coming out. I don't know. It didn't fit the criteria. Okay. I thought you had a potential barricaded suspect that automatically met the criteria. Right. But I was young. I was young as far as on patrol. And we were like, and we figured out, okay, well, what are we going to do? We can't leave her here, obviously. No, we have to go in there. Right. And we got a ballistic shield. We formed up a team. And initially, the first thing that went in my head was like, dang, like, man, this could be it. I mean, that literally ran through my head. This could be it.
Yeah, this could be it.
But then I got pissed.
Right.
And I was like, man, screw that. This ain't going to be it. Let's go. I mean, it was like that quick. Right. My mindset changed. Right. There wasn't a moment of fear. I ain't gonna sit up here and try to act like there wasn't.
Right, of course.
Especially being that early on, sure. I didn't know what was on the other side of that door. But and like I said, it was that quick. I said, "Screw that, man. Let's go. Let's go get this dude." We stacked up behind the shield. We went in there. Come to find out that it was just some prostitute who was, some dude didn't pay her, and he was tripping and all this kind of stuff. Right. But it was that element of the unknown,
exactly,
on the other side of that door,
right? And
we had bad intel ultimately, right. But you still act regardless. Right. So when you have someone who says that, who makes a claim like she does in this video, it just shows an element of ignorance. And unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with more and more these days.
It's more than an element.
Yeah, it's people who just act like they know. Right. They act like they know. Right. They act like they know what they're talking about, but they have no clue. It's more of being fearless. It's more of saying, I'm going to be brave in the face of fear. Right. That's what policing is all about. Exactly. Or anyone who ever has put themselves in a situation where they had to act regardless of the way they were feeling. You still knew that you had a mission. You still knew that you had a job to deal with. And that could be a corrections officer going into a cell with a suspect who's got a gun, who's got a knife or other weapon, anything, or just some bludgeoning item. It could be in the middle of a riot situation. It could be a civilian who just does the right thing because he's concerned about the citizen that might be involved, or his family, or his own personal well-being. That it's more of courage. And you're missing. She's playing with words to try to make an argument. Right. But all I know is that I put my pants on the same way as anyone else who isn't a cop. Right. I'm hungry. I get my feelings hurt. I get angry just like everybody else. I have my wants and needs. So her whole argument is just like baseless. But once again, that's what we deal with. That's what the common argument is these days.
Maybe her and LeBron should hook up. and not to get off on a tangent, but that's just another side. When you have people who have a tremendous amount of following, and they state irresponsible things that make absolutely no sense when you don't understand anything about policing. It's like, I'm going to go tell you how to start, taking it to the inside the paint or throwing 3-point shots. I can't tell you how to play basketball because you're a basketball professional. Please don't tell me or the police in this country how to do our job because you've never done it and you don't know. So that's a point that needs to be made, even though we're tipping off on the.
That's fine, man. We're good.
But I just wanted to make that correlation. Just understand, when people make comments who don't have any background or any knowledge of what we do, is unfair. It's just unfair. And if at least they would open up and say, hey, listen, you know what? Can you try to explain this to me? Because I don't understand this. Explain to me how that officer in Columbus, Ohio, why did he have to shoot that girl?
Right.
And let's give you an explanation. Maybe we can take you through some training so you understand why we do what we do. And again, we're not ninja robots. We're not, these incredible, super
superhuman.
Superheroes, we're not. We're not.
Invulnerable.
You know?
Bullets bounce off of us. No,
Right, it doesn't happen. Right.
It's nuts, man. Like I said, it really frustrates me. But
anyway.
But
LeBron, you guys get the other.
Yeah, you made a good point, man. Honestly, when you talked about not being, not assuming to know. If you have a question, if you really wonder about a police tactic, the smart thing, the humble thing would be to say, you know what, that didn't look right to me. But so could you explain to me how that's justified? Because I don't get it.
Just come with a little humble pie. That's all.
That's it. That's it. Just ask a question. And man, there's so many dudes out there, men and women, officers, people with experience in that field who can say, here's why that was justified. And be humble enough to say, you know what, that makes sense. Or I don't get it. I still don't understand it completely. Because sometimes you can explain something as good as possible, as well as you can.
Right.
And people still just don't get it.
Right.
So, all right, let's move up to another portion of this wonderful tirade here. Okay. We're going to go up to the 22. I got little timestamps here. About 11 minutes here. See if I can get there. See, this is real. This is not being my friend here. This little media player ain't helping me out here.
Finding your own lane, and you look a bit until he's ready to come.
There we go.
Then I have to go do the pushing until he's ready to pop all the way out, right?
Starts around.
Then I have to raise that thing.
She's talking about raising her kids, and then when her child comes in contact with a police officer, and then he shoots them. But it's about the 11:27 mark here. She'll get into her more of what she's thinking.
Okay.
For you to tell me that you felt threatened and you couldn't talk to him. Because when I feel threatened, if I should ever feel that, I'm gonna punch him in his face. I have fists.
Is it showing up on y'all here? Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't think it's showing up here for them.
Or what's getting better now is I'm mistaken my gun for a certain situation. And you want to think about speaking that. Because niggas in the hood are not afraid of people who are carrying guns because that ain't got nothing to do with me. I understand that you might be put in a situation where you have to communicate with people, and then I guess you might want to feel some kind of protection. But if you're fucking scared, you don't need a gun. This is why bitch ass niggas in the streets and pussy ass females on the streets don't walk around with guns. They be shooting everything. They're scary. If you were afraid for your life, go be a secretary at Walmart. Do us all the favor. Go open up a daycare. But please stop hitting us with the bullshit excuse that you felt threatened about something. We walk up and down these same streets every
Good.
Excuse me, Miss. I don't know who you.
Her name is.
I don't even know why I see it's up there. Phoenix.
No, that's like her little moniker or whatever. She
no.
goes by her real name. Hold on a second, man. I had to write it down. Her real name was. But go ahead, man. Talk.
What?
Jessica Bouveau or something
Jessica,
like that.
What a stupid comment. It's just stupid. And see, if you're not willing to listen and accept dialogue and experience from people like myself or Eric or tons of cops in the United States,
right,
who've dealt with so many situations and been in fear many times. It doesn't work like that. What we say is we're willing to accept that fear and to work through that fear until we resolve the incident. That's what we're doing. We're working through fear. So when it says that we feel, no, that's not what it is. We have fear like any other human being. And for you to suggest that I should become a secretary or go work in a daycare is just one of the most ludicrous mindsets I've ever even heard. We're human beings.
She's basically talking that an officer shouldn't carry a gun because if you carry a gun, then that means you're afraid.
Right. Thanks a lot. That's going to work really good too. And I can probably show you about 10 trillion videos where if police didn't have their guns, there'd be a lot of innocent people dead. What do you want me to tell you? I mean, you have to understand we live in a world where guns are very prevalent. We have our Second Amendment right to protect ourselves, to bear arms, and that's just the reality of the matter. The people who have guns who are committing crimes, those people aren't your legal gun owners. Just let me reiterate that. Those are criminals. Those are people who break into houses and steal guns or break into gun stores and steal guns or get them illegally to the border or get them illegally through other people. They obtain them illegally. They don't run them through the system. These are criminals. So there's a big difference. So I mean, I can't fathom that understanding or that mentality that this young lady has. I mean, she obviously knows nothing about anything. Not zero. She knows zero about policing, and you know zero about dynamic interactions.
The scary part about it is this is typical. People who have I don't know what her following is. I think she had like maybe 2,000 people following her on Facebook, where her little podcast was, her video was. Now, I don't know if she has a podcast and how many people are listening to her, but you typically have people who they may have a following for whatever reason, justified or not, and yet they start talking about topics that they know nothing about, yet they're considered an authority by their followers. Sean King, for instance. I mean, that dude makes me want to throw up. I mean, literally. First of all, he's acting like he's black and he's not. Right. He can't even validate the fact that he's a white, that he's black. When people have asked him about it, he dodges, he ducks the question. But he acts like he's in a position of knowledge when he's talking about these police confrontations, these police related incidents. But that's another thing. I think it was Dwayne who referenced talking about how social media, like not knowing what people think. Now everybody has a platform. It's easy. It's not easy. It takes work to develop a platform, to build a platform. But you still have the reality that there are people out there who are talking about topics and they are completely ignorant, and they could have thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of followers. And there are people out there who are just going to listen to what they say. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. And then they don't even want to hear the other side.
Right, because they're just one-sided.
Totally.
Just one-sided, that's all it is.
Totally. What you got there, Don? We all have a sense of self-preservation. I'm not afraid of traffic, but I'm not going to run out into the road. She shouldn't. She wouldn't either. Yeah, she wouldn't either. Right. No, that's perfect, bro. That's perfect. Kurt says Sean King equals real life Jordan. No question about it. No question about it. Yeah, are you familiar with Sean King?
A little bit, but I haven't seen much of his stuff.
Yeah, you ain't missing nothing. But I'll share some stuff.
No, with you. I think you already have with me, and I pretty much it's about to vomit. I just can't. It's just so hard to deal with people who just don't have an open mind or not willing to engage in intelligent dialogue about certain topics, and it just shows their lack of education, and it shows their lack of humility as well. They have no humility.
Yeah, that's it, definitely. Okay, here we go.
You have people out here who feel like they can try. You're humble. Tell you shit you don't give a fuck about. Talk to you all kinds of crazy. I see it the most when you driving in the car and it's road rage until they pull up to your fucking car and see your face. Then it's on my back off because no, this bitch might really get out the car if I hit her car. And I will.
She's talking about herself here.
I don't know who told you your mother purchased this highway, but that signal was not a permission slip. It was me letting your stupid ass know that's what the fuck it is and I'm going. Now you can help or you can be an ass, but I'm gonna get there. That is my life. When I signal to the left or I signal to the fucking right, I'm not asking nobody for permission on who I'm gonna pray to, who I'm not gonna pray to. Who I'm going to like, who I'm not going to like. Who I'm going to date, who I'm not going to date. It's not your fucking concern. What is your concern is who pussy you came out of. Whose pussy you're going into. Not my problem. Find better reasons to not like each other. And then get over that too.
She's kind of all over the place.
Yeah,
she's talking about black folks getting along, how we don't get along, and how we, so. Okay. So I mean, there was actually a few moments here and there where she was somewhat coherent, where I actually agreed with her. Right. Okay. When she talks about how all the violence that the black community inflicts upon each other. Right. No question about it. I talk about that stuff all the time. People hate when I talk about it. People get pissed off all the time, but
it's the truth.
It is. It is what it is, and we have to acknowledge that. But let me move up a little bit here. I'm trying to get to where she starts. Let me get to the 30-minute mark here. See what she's talking about here.
I ain't talking about a race. I'm talking about these niggas.
Now she's talking about the police again.
These niggas. They don't like nothing. They don't like black. They don't like white. They don't like Indian. They don't like Spanish. They don't like Puerto Rican. They don't like nothing. They like money and coins.
Stupid.
So when people say shit like, oh, don't burn down. Yes, burn down. You know why? You know what happens when you burn shit the fuck down? I understand mom and pop stores suffer because it's a fucked up, what's the fucking word? Casualty of war, right? But what happens is insurance. This is stuff that white people have on their stores, in their homes, in their cars, in their lives. Fucking insurance. When the insurance starts having to pay because people keep getting upset over the same fucking problem, now it's not just you fighting by yourself. It is you and the insurance companies and they team of lawyers. One thing that makes white people absolutely fucking remarkably brilliant is they get paid to die. When them motherfuckers pass away, you heard of estates? That's not just homes. That's a life insurance fucking policy. Because this old dumb or old, I ain't gonna call him dumb because I'm just in the fucking mood, but this old nigga here decided over the last 15 or 20 years, he gonna pay some $30, $40 a fucking month to insure his head for $500,000. So when that bitch die, it's a fucking check.
She's so sweet.
Yeah. Hell of a nice girl. I mean,
but you see her mindset right there. She's talking about burn stuff down. Yeah. Violence. So her mindset when it comes to violence is very and this is one of her many podcasts. Right. She had a bunch, and I was like, I'm not watching more than this was enough. And we haven't even really gotten into her true thoughts. That's coming up. Right. Her true thoughts about the police. But in the middle, while the podcast was going on, she's smoking, she's drinking. Right. And you see, as time goes on, she becomes less and less coherent. Right. She becomes more and more upset, more and more angry. And she starts to let her true feelings come out. Right. So she already says she doesn't care about the police. She's willing to use violence to get her way. Early on, I didn't just feel like trying to hunt it down. She talks about how dumb she is and how she doesn't like listening. She doesn't like rules. She likes doing her own thing. She knows that there's something wrong with her mentally. This video could be what kills her. Not literally, but could be what sends her up the river. So
nail in the coffin, man.
That's it. Well, she took a Hitler, right?
Self-incriminating.
Yeah, she's not. It said she took a Hitlerian turn there, like very much so. Like, I mean, that's a socialistic.
She's very loving. Yeah, she's loving. Yeah, she's a very loving person. Very angry. See, that's an issue.
RS said she should take a course in economics, right? Yeah, so she's basically justifying and saying that if you, well, on one degree, yeah, you should have an insurance policy to protect yourself.
Yeah, for your family,
right. Yeah, but she's also saying that it's okay to burn stuff down because these people have insurance. It's okay, right. And that's the foolishness. That's a real popular opinion because these people don't consider the fact that once these properties, these homes get burned down, and then these people don't have a place to stay. They don't have, and then businesses burn down. It's particularly in the inner city where a lot of it goes on. Right. Then you have businesses that aren't willing to come in because they don't trust the environment because it's a hazard. Absolutely. Right. So then when businesses aren't coming in, everything collapses, everything falls, the market struggles, people have more difficulty finding work. And what they'll always end up doing is saying, see, people don't want to come in here because they're racist. No, they don't want to come in there because they don't want to lose their hard-earned money and the businesses that they're trying to work on.
Well, she advocates for destroying her own community. And what about people who live there that are black and Hispanic and Asian who have businesses? Well, you're hurting minorities as well. You're hurting minorities more.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that though. It's just really odd how popular that mindset is.
You hurt your own people.
Few more clips, y'all. Few more clips. Thank you for being patient with us. $53-minute mark here. Okay, right there.
So when I say shit like, if y'all keep trying people, children's and husbands and brothers and sisters and daughters, and they start burning your shit down, I don't give a fuck. Let them. I really wish they would have still burnt some shit down. I'm ready for them to go to the point where they just like taking police precincts out. Y'all want them to go to court, blow the fucking courthouse out. Like, stop playing with me. What we talking about? What's the conversation here? I gotta explain to you that you ignorant as fuck and you took something that you ain't had no business to. You touched my shit and you ain't had no business touching it. And has that ever been a past that was okay in the hood that we gonna discuss? Someone break into your house and steal your shit permanently and you wanna talk? That's where love and hip hop came from. We don't really do shit like that.
See, do you agree with this? Now, because like I said, you're making some great points, right? But burning the courthouses and the police stations, right? It can happen, but it don't make it better for us. Because listen,
it doesn't make it better,
and it's not gonna prove the point. And I'm gonna just I'm gonna share this with you, right? The thing is, I'm gonna go to just information, right? There's so much information out here for us to win.
We'll pause there. They get into a little dialogue, kind of goes on a different direction there. But you definitely heard her talk about just more her demonstrating, talking about violence,
right?
Burning courthouses down, burning police precincts down,
right?
I'll share with you one more video clip here, and then we'll briefly discuss what your thoughts are about them making a case. As far as improving intent or not. 1 second, y'all. There we go.
I'm not a fucking peaceful person. I don't know about what the fuck nobody else want to do. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I don't give a fuck about that. I don't care. You want to do that? Fucking beautiful.
So do you have a solution?
My solution is don't try me.
Okay.
Don't try mines. Get enough people to think and operate like don't try me. Don't try mines. And mines becomes a whole fucking community to the point where we're all saying don't try us. Because that's all that works. I like going back to Haiti. People say shit like, yes, burning doesn't do things and it's counterproductive. Sometimes. Because what happens is, who the fuck is paying to rebuild this? Yes, we get taxed. That means everybody's upset. I like wasting people's money if you want to waste mine. What I'm saying is, let's go where the bank is hurt. Because building shit costs money. And in Haiti, because Haiti don't usually sponsor their own buildings and shit, if we burn down shoot down a couple of fucking police houses and courthouses, bitch, that's you that gotta pay for that. You might fuck around and tax me, and that's cool. I already figured that part. What I'm saying to you is, bitch, you gotta fit that bill. You gonna feel it first. Then I'll feel it. But the next time you think you want to try that again, you're going to remember they might fuck around and burn some more shit. Haiti only got independence because, bitch, you're not going to try me. We will destroy everything. Subjumu started because we destroyed everything. Bitch, it wasn't nothing but pumpkin left. Some potatoes, some yams. A couple of animals running around here scattered and shit. And we gonna eat that. And on top of that, we gonna eat that shit and be happy. And every fucking year it's a turn up with that same meal. Now, You want us to be mad because we was hungry that day? We wasn't hungry. We had soup. You was hungry. You wanted steak. I didn't care for steak. I had potatoes and yams. I'm full. Fuck it up. It's money. I'm not saying that's everybody's cause is to destroy. I'm just saying get mad enough where your brain says we're not going to keep doing this. Let's ask. Can you please hear my side of the story? Because now he was really fucked up for that. Bitch, I ain't gotta explain that to you. I don't gotta explain when I'm wrong to you. You're not my mama. You ain't my daddy. And sometimes I find it hard to explain myself to them. God know I'm ignorant as fuck. He made me. And I talk to him daily. That nigga know I'm stupid. Don't bother me. If you really look at people and when you go outside and you automatically assume like how people who are fucking raw, that somebody has AIDS, you want to put a condom on. Or someone who works in the medical field, when before you draw their blood, you automatically assume that their blood is infected. Automatically assume people is crazy. Want to fix? Assume that nobody in 2021, because if they say they are, they crazier than you think, is rat type. There's no such thing as normal post Donald Trump. There's no such thing as normal post George Floyd. They ain't been normal post Trayvon fucking Martin. These are babies. That's not normal. Any animal you put in a cage and then make the cage smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller before they run out of space and you come and try to transfer their ass one more time to that smaller cage, they're gonna fuck that ass up. I don't want your cage. I didn't ask you for help. Assume everybody is a little off.
Coming from her, there's a whole lot of truth there.
Bitch, a taser? You got chambers in it? You got a car?
There was one point in there where she talked about, she basically talked about how she doesn't care about, she looks at police officers as roaches. And she don't care about them. She don't care about their mama, their daddy. She's like, F their mama, F their daddy, F them. I don't care about them at all. I couldn't locate it. I thought I had a time mark. But based on what you heard, now I'd love to know what y'all think. Those out there who are joining us in the comment section below, write what you think. Do you think that if you were a prosecutor, based on what you heard, you might be able to argue intent? Like prove that as far as murder per se?
You know, I mean, again, I'm not an attorney, but I've been involved with the judicial system, so I understand it. I could say there's a possibility. I think they'll also say, though, I mean, the reality is, number one, I don't know what her criminal history is, if she has any at all.
I don't think she had much of a criminal history.
I'll say that maybe she doesn't. I don't know. I mean, just the way she speaks and carries herself, she seems like a very angry and agitated person. So I'm thinking, well, maybe when she was younger, she had some difficulty growing up. Maybe she was a foster child. Maybe she comes from a single parent home or no parent home. I'm just trying to like understand that every word that comes out of her mouth is anger. But what I'll say is this: based on that and the things that she said, and that's her platform, and she continually speaks like that, and that's something that she does in all her podcasts. I mean, I can see them looking at that and say, "Take a look at this," and then. What I saw the reaction though when you showed the video of when they were putting her in the car, she was apparently very remorseful, or apparently so. She was saying, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that."
I think the dude who's over the union, he said it very well. This is my take that she was sad and sorry that she got caught.
I think that's right.
And none of us can go in her head. None of us can go in her head. You know how big of it, how much I'm about that. People always assuming intent, but here we have a tirade. There was almost 2 hours worth of her talking and giving her mindset about police. Right. Just minutes. This isn't weeks. This isn't years old. This is minutes before she decided to get in her car, smoking and drinking, and drive. and then she runs into a police officer.
Yeah.
I heard they knocked him 100 feet.
Oh my God.
100 feet. And
she must be moving pretty fast.
Right. And so
it's terrible, man.
I don't know, man. But what do you think ultimately?
Ultimately, I mean, if I didn't understand the time frame, so you just
like less than an hour.
Okay, so now that you say that, now I thought that might have been. I wasn't sure if that was it. If this was maybe several weeks ago.
No, this is like this.
This is fresh.
Hours apart.
No,
she's talking all this.
Right, and she's drinking.
She's getting hyped up.
Right.
Smoking, drinking, and then you decide to go home.
Oh no, I can see them making a case for murder on this, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that shows intent. I mean, she puts it on podcast, and then I don't know. In the end, is there a part in the video where she says she's going out, or she just ends up going out?
No, she's wrapping it up.
Okay,
and she's been going on.
Right.
She goes on another tirade about like religion and all this kind of stuff, but this is like. Shortly thereafter, she finishes here. She gets in the car and goes home, and then she kills that officer.
I can see them definitely showing some intent, obviously, and maybe it might not be first degree, maybe second degree murder, depending on what the statute is and how it works in New York City. I will say, based on that and how, she has just a very, very harsh demeanor in everything that she says. I mean, there's nothing that's even. Gently coherent, maybe. I mean, everything is fuck this and screw that and do this and that. And I'm thinking, gee, man, there's some built up anger in there. And then after all that, she goes. I think they're going to work hard. They should. I mean, for the sake of that officer and other officers,
family,
let's push it, man. And you know what? I'm sorry. She made a mistake, but she made her bed. Now she's got to lie in it.
No, that's it, man.
So all the talk she's doing. Well, now she's probably going to be around people she hates for X number of years. I don't know.
Now, what I heard initially, and I don't know if they decided to move further or pursue more charges, but initially they said that she's looking at 15 years for involuntary manslaughter or something along those lines. But I'm not sure if they saw. I screen captured this video. I saved it because I figured that they would take this off of Facebook shortly there. They may have, for all I know.
Right.
But just like you said, based on the time frame and everything that came out of her mouth, talking about, F them, I can't stand them, they're like cockroaches, I don't give a F about you, your kids, your mama, your daddy.
Real nicely.
And all the other nonsense, burning courthouses down, burning buildings down. I think it would be a simple step to say, yeah, she might have had some ill intent. Let's see what some of the comments are. They have intent because of her own statement to burn down businesses, police houses, and courthouses. What do you think about that?
I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, I don't know if there's a part in that video, but if she had said something that like more particular, if she had said something insinuating, like, I'm going to go out and drive, do my thing, and whatever happens, or cop gets in my way, I'm going to take care of business, something like that. That would be much more. That would
more
be
damning.
More damning. But based on just the way that she's talking, all the negativity about police and burning down buildings, it just shows that she has a very violent sense about her.
Right.
And and just going out right after this. I hope they can do that, and I hope they can get that murder charge. But obviously, she has I think they said like 13 to 15 different charges on her. So the traffic related charges, DUI, and all that stuff. So.
Dwayne says, I think the more this garbage continues, the more people will start to wake up. Man, I'm hoping so, bro. I think he's implying the more people start to see like the true faces of this ideology, this movement. And I think to some degree, and maybe it's just in the circles, in my small circle, I think to some degree that's happening a little more. I would say you see more politicians standing up against this nonsense. They're saying, no, we're not going to allow critical race theory, because these are the roots. These are the foundations a lot of this perspective. Right. We're not going to allow these in our schools. There's some states that are just not allowing it in our schools. Right. They're not allowing it in their businesses. They're coming out again. More people are willing to stand up.
Right.
And finally, some of us have been crying out, fighting this fight for years now, and it's like people are finally starting to wake up to the ugly side, like the whole thing with the BLM chick who has four different homes, and she's a Marxist, and she's always talking about how capitalism is evil and it's used to oppress people of color. But yet you are obviously bringing in enough money where you can buy multiple homes. So capitalism ain't all that bad. It just shows the hypocrisy. Right. And I hope that people start to definitely see that.
It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating.
These comments prove she has no clue what the actual statistics are.
Right.
Right, bro. Just like most people don't know what the actual numbers are. And that's why I try to do the best I can to bring that information up when I make a video. Yeah. And sometimes it may seem like I'm repeating myself, right. but I know not everyone's going to see my video. I have my faithful fans who are there. Every time I post something, they're there. They're interacting with it. They're sharing my videos. But there's still hundreds, thousands, millions of more people out there who need to hear this. And then you also have to deal with the fact that nowadays within our culture, facts are irrelevant. It's more of how someone feels. That's more important to a lot of people. Yeah. How you feel about something is, they don't want to see numbers. You can put all the numbers in the world up. The statistics show that police only killed 9 or 15 unarmed black men out of all the interactions that they have on a yearly basis. Nearly half a billion when you really look at the sheer number. I shared some information recently, and this is some information that I read, and I also shared a clip that PragerU, an article or a post that PragerU had, where they talked about it's been estimated that the police can have nationwide between calls for service and vehicle stops somewhere in the neighborhood of 375 million contacts with the public on a yearly basis. And then when you look at, and when it comes, especially with the argument of unarmed black men, there were 15 or so last year, maybe 12 the year prior. If you look at that sheer volume of contacts, as a black person who doesn't commit crime, you have statistically nothing to worry about when it comes to dealing with a police officer. The very, very, very small fraction of a percent occasion where you deal with an idiot cop out there. Right. Yes, I guess it's possible, but in all actuality, you will live. The vast majority of folks, regardless of ethnicity, will never have a negative, a really bad confrontation with a police officer.
Sure, just follow the rules, man.
But yet, you have people out there, like, once again, whether it's academia, the mainstream media, Hollywood, athletes, they're still pushing this perspective to where the average citizen is like, man, what's going on? They turn on the news, another shooting, like, what's happening? But they really don't understand, like,
the big picture.
They're clueless to it. And that's why it takes folks like us, anyone who's passionate about it, because ain't nothing special about us. We just happen to actually work in the field. But it takes, I wish more people would be willing to engage. And yeah, it can be rough. You might have to deal with people hating on you, blocking your friends, but you're talking about facts. You're talking about the truth, the reality of it. Because when it's all said and done, if these people are successful with their movement to defund or abolish the police, people are going to die.
Oh,
and it's already happening. The cities,
crime is through the roof.
Right, it's already happening. The cities and counties and towns that have chosen to defund the police, they all pay the price, and they all end up regretting it. You would think common sense would settle in, and they would say, you know what, taking money away from the police isn't a smart thing, because then they're not going to be able to be as proactive and work as hard, because there are going to be less cops on the streets. Right. But they don't think about it. We have to continue talking about these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate y'all sticking with us. Definitely appreciate y'all. Let me see. Don Willis thinks you got those numbers backwards, bud. At Don Willis, think you got those numbers back. What did he say? Oh, okay, I get it. I missed it. Don said she's a 10 on looks, but a 1 on the crazy scale. Run away, guys. Yeah, she ain't all there, man.
I think she's from Haiti, because she mentioned Haiti.
Yeah, she mentioned Haitian. Yeah, she definitely mentioned that. Yeah. That's what he said. She got those numbers back with 1 on looks and 10 on the crazy.
Oh my God.
But all right, let's see here. Good content, guys. Incitement. Yeah, people like that are just so dangerous. There's so many people out there who are just rallying. Like I said, I don't know how big her overall platform is, but people like this are just dangerous, man.
I agree.
Like a Jesse Jackson. She's a low level Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton.
You don't know how low level she is. She may have over 100,000 followers. You don't know.
You're right.
So maybe she. I don't know what she has, but the other side of that, when you look at how people are like ourselves, right? We're able to get on and people watch us, and she gets on and people watch her. Maybe not for a while now because she's probably going to end up going to jail or prison, I would think.
Yeah, someone mentioned that earlier.
But you stop it and you really look at that, and I'm just thinking now, what's something that could kind of like bridge, put a bridge in between people who think the way we do and people who are very strong anti-sentiment.
What do you mean?
Police. No, what I'm thinking is because I in my mind, and there was I know I mentioned this to you. There was a police officer, I think, in NYPD, and he's been a cop for a long time.
The 24-year cop.
Yeah, and he's black. He's black, and he had sent out a tweet to LeBron James, and he said, "Listen, let's sit down and talk." He's a man of faith. So let me try to explain it. Let's sit like two gentlemen and just have some dialogue. Could you imagine though if those two got together? I mean, if LeBron had the wherewithal to say, you know what, man, things are pretty bad in this country, and this officer is reaching out to me, and he reached out in a decent way, and he didn't write anything negative.
He didn't mock him at all.
And he said, I'm not coming at you with hate. I'm coming at you with peace, and let me try to explain some things to you that you don't know anything about. And,
right.
And and if you want to tell me about basketball and the pick and the roll, yeah, sure, that's all you, man. That's all you. But when I saw that, I said, imagine, with the media platforms that we have now, imagine something like that. If LeBron James came out, because he's got probably more followers than anybody anywhere, and with that officer or any officer for that matter, but
tens of millions.
This officer, one who initiated it. Imagine if they did that and what that would do, and if the outcome was, okay, maybe we agree to disagree on some things, but I understand much more. And we can be sympathetic to that as well. Listen, I know it's difficult, man. I mean, and as you and I grew up in New York City. I was a Puerto Rican kid in a predominantly white neighborhood. Right. And, I had a lot of interaction with running home because I had to fight all the time, or, cops looking at me a little bit differently and treating me differently. But that's just, I was a kid out of the neighborhood. I didn't belong in a white neighborhood, so to speak. And that changed over years. And as I said, there were cops I knew that were great guys, and I wanted to become a cop because the way I was treated at certain points in my life. I said, wow, I don't feel any systemic racism right now. These cops they did the right thing by me. They talk to me like a father figure. Right. Tell me things I got to stop doing. So I just hope somewhere we can get that that law enforcement element along with maybe some big sports figures, and man, just have I don't know if that'll ever happen.
And you know what? It would take a big man to be able to step up and say, you know what, maybe there are things going on here that I don't understand. Let me be willing to listen and sit down.
A little bit of humble
and on top of that, now there is such a strong anti-police element within. Man, it's been there for a long time in the black community. Yeah. Been there for a long time, but now it's like raging fire. Right. I mean, every night somewhere in our country, there are riots and protests going on. And so we'll take a strong person for any athlete, and particularly a black athlete, to be able to say, you know what, I think I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to sit down with this man and talk about things. And I think it'd be good to have some cameras there. Film the thing, have a discussion. Have an open discussion, maybe have a couple of other athletes and a couple of other officers and say, well, let's just talk about these issues and let that thing just play. Let it just play and let them talk. Yeah. And then I even invited, there's some guys that I know out there that I said, man, I could probably set up some type of role playing, some scenario-based training to give you a taste of what it's like to be in law enforcement. I could give you a little short block of instructions where I teach you the ins and outs about threat perception, about situational awareness, and then let's do a few scenarios and we'll see how you respond. Right. And the dude just acted like I never even wrote that. Right. Like he just went around that whole point and addressed the other comments I made. But it would take a really strong, big, mature individual right now who doesn't agree with the other side, but is willing to say, "Hey, let me at least put myself in a situation where I can better understand what they're trying to say."
Exactly.
And I don't think, and honestly, I don't know LeBron, obviously, but I don't know if he's mature like that mentally. You know, he was. I mean, he's a young man raised by his mom. Dad wasn't in his life. That's an issue there, and we could talk about that all day.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that all day. And then you're talking about, and then he had a lot of celebrity status because he was a great basketball player, even in high school. And then from high school straight to the NBA.
Right.
And now he has a massive platform. He dealt with a lot of heat because of some of the decisions he made and how he choked a few times. So I think, you're dealing with a young, emotionally immature I mean, he's 35 nowadays, but he's so emotionally immature man who's stuck in his ways, and he's not even willing to say, "Hey, let me at least listen and hear what you might have to say." He's not willing to do that.
And they say that he does a lot for the community. He donates a ton of money. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure he's a good-hearted guy. I really do. I just think he's ill-informed, or he's just uneducated. And again, it goes back to, if you have some humility, you say, you know what, I there's a lot going on here, and I'm looking at what many of these young Black Americans, males that get involved with police encounters, and they go south, they go bad. Well, why is this happening? And let's look at it from the root. And there's a lot of other things just to say, well, cops, well, what about, again, we go back to what about just complying, right? I mean, most of the time people getting out of jail anyway now. They're bailing them out. They don't have to pay bail. They get out, and from serious charges too. So it's almost like I wish somebody could just, again, people who have that great anti-sentiment towards police, just to say, okay, listen, let's just sit down and talk about, maybe we need to learn a little bit of that humble pie. That's all it is, man. And me and Eric, I would talk to LeBron. I mean, how we doing it?
I don't hate the dude.
No, I don't either. And we shouldn't predicate ourselves upon that, because that's very divisive, right? And I don't want to say I hate you. I mean, I get upset with comments that you've made about police, and it's hurtful to me, because I have a lot of pride. And I'm sure you'd feel a little bit different also if I said a lot about you, or I called Michael Jordan the GOAT. I mean, and I'm not saying he is. He may not. I don't know. It might be you. It might be LeBron. But the point is just to have that ability. So, okay, let me just take a step back and say, okay, I really want to understand this from every aspect, because there's so much involved with these incidents that occur that become deadly force situations. There's so much history. There's so many things that are ongoing that people just don't understand, and all they see is what's happening there. They forget the before, they forget the after, they forget how this person may have grown up, right? So,
let's see what some of these other comments. I don't think she did it intentionally, but I can tell by it. But I can't tell by the evidence stacked up against her. Yeah, I think that's pretty much where we all.
We have to wait.
None of us know. Right. None of us know. None of us will ever be able to know 100%. But see, that's the difference between us and some people who take an opposing view.
Right.
They say a white cop shoot a black guy. Like all the people that assumed that Derek Chauvin did what he did based on the fact that
color.
Yeah, based on the fact that George Floyd was black. Right. No evidence to support that whatsoever.
Zero.
All right, let's move on here. Let me see. LeBron James doing that would be amazing. Sadly, I doubt it would ever happen. Same here, bro. The moment any real numbers come up, LeBron will call him a racist. It won't matter that he is black or not. Yeah, or he's like a bootlicker, sellout, Uncle Tom. I mean, it can go on and on, all the names that I hear.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, but I mean, it's just wishful thinking or hoping.
Dwayne says he believes it was intentional. Like I said, I think there's a definite case that could be made for that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the bottom line, she's going to be in. She's probably in prison. She's going to do some time. I mean, but from my perspective, I'm thinking about, and I'm remembering back in the day, because this officer went and he went out. Went to Long Island, which is a little bit of a nicer area, and he bought a home, and it's very, very expensive on a police officer's salary. That's why I moved out here, because I couldn't afford a home in Long Island. So I had a lot, and I'm just thinking about it. He had two young children, 6 and 3, I believe, and he's married, and like you said, the tragic thing here is, and again, we talk about all this anti-sentiment or what was so negative about police, but think about that he's out there on the scene of a deadly accident, trying to control traffic and protect people and protect that scene, and he's out there in harm's way like we are every day, and look what happens. And you said that they think he went like over 100 feet.
100 feet.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure upon impact it's probably gone already, but it's just such a sad thing to
there's no chance.
Yeah, it's just
you
terrible.
get hit like that,
and it's just one of the saddest things I could think of. Because I mean, he's doing his shift, doing his thing, wants to go home to his new home in Long Island, and it's not going to happen now.
Yeah, because she decided she wanted to drink and drive. So
and she may have also decided that she wanted to do something
possibly
terrible to somebody.
Like, I'm tired of them. There's one right there.
Yeah.
Like she could have been worked up.
Yeah.
We don't know. Let me read this right here.
Yeah.
LeBron has nothing to gain from something like that. He may be uneducated, but his media consultants are smart enough to know that. I believe there's some truth to that, man.
There is, but I still think that he's such a formidable figure. And think about it. He's a black male, like you said. I think he may have grown up in a single household, but his mother did a pretty good job with him. He was an athlete. Thank God he had the ability to be a great athlete.
Right.
And he went right through it. He went right to the pros at a young age.
That's
great for him.
I got a comment up here. This Mike Cut's been throwing those negative comments. Pretty much, he said, "Take away qualified immunity from these criminals." Do you even know what qualified immunity is? Don't Google it. Don't go run looking it up. Do you even know the full definition of qualified immunity and why it is even there? I really wonder if you know that, my man. I don't even know this dude, honestly.
Sure.
But it really makes me wonder, because so many people assume that they know the purpose of it. They think it's just there to protect cops from all criminal charges, but that's nonsense.
Not true.
It's there to protect cops from frivolous civil lawsuits.
Right.
Because they're thrust in situations, they continually have to make decisions that are split second. That, Mike, I can guarantee you probably will never have to face. You'll never be in a situation where you have to decide you have to make a decision where someone's life could potentially be in your hands. You could be in a situation where you may have to save your own life or someone else's. And I'm pretty sure, just based on your comments, that you have no clue. You're the guy that we're talking about. You're the guy who acts like they know what's going on when it comes to law enforcement, but have never been challenged in any type of a deadly confrontation. But yet you sit back and you're typing, you're on your phone, and you're making all these assumptions. I really feel bad, man, honestly. If you watch more of my content, if you really want to learn, watch some videos. And even if you don't watch mine, there are other people out there that are doing this. Watch some of their stuff, because they deal with the reality of policing that the average citizen will never face, nor should they. They shouldn't have to face that. They shouldn't have to deal with these situations. But it takes a special person. And none of us are sitting over here acting like cops are above the law and that they should be able to do whatever they want to do. Not at all. Call them out. When they screw up, they should face harsher punishment when cops break the law. I'm an advocate for that. But this whole idea, it just blows my mind. People sitting back here acting like they know.
Well, let's ask him, Mike. Well, may I ask what you do for a living? Maybe he'll respond to that.
Yeah, good question. What do you do, Mike?
I'm just curious.
That'd be awesome. I would love to know. Kurt said, far as I can tell, if you remove qualified immunity, police forces will vanish in a month due to lawsuits. So maybe keep that in mind. It would bankrupt almost any state. I think. And then he said, even current police payouts and lawsuits are an insane burden. Yeah, I mean, I understand there's some people that say that, and I'm not saying that it may not need some adjusting.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with going back and reevaluating some of the details of qualified immunity. But when you understand that if I hold you at gunpoint because I got information, we're on a call together, right, and we're told that, let's just take a felony car stop, felony or high risk car stop. You have a stolen vehicle, you have a suspect in there who might be considered dangerous,
sure, and the
cops call him out of the vehicle at gunpoint because they might be dealing with a dangerous felon,
right,
possibly armed, who knows. Let's say that they got their information wrong. Let's say it was instead of a black Toyota, it was a blue one, and we called the wrong people out. And these people were totally innocent. They laid on the ground, and let's say they felt embarrassed, and then they wanted to sue us because of that, even though we were acting in good faith.
Right.
Qualified immunity would protect us from being sued.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand.
Right.
Most of the time, that's what qualified immunity. That's how an officer, police agencies are protected, because once again, no one else in this country is going to be out there confronting criminals like a police officer does. And yeah, sometimes we screw up. Sometimes we make bad choices. I remember kicking in the door.
Wrong door.
Kicking in the door of a felony level of domestic. We booted in that door, getting in there gunpoint. Boyfriend putting him on the ground at gunpoint. He got on the ground. Girlfriend screaming, and then the officer that said, "Yeah, I know that." The same one that said, "Yeah, I know that was the right door." He's like, "It was the wrong door. It was supposed to be next door."
Yeah,
and then we had to go back and apologize.
Yeah,
we're like, man, I went above and beyond to apologize to that guy. And he was like, man, I get it. Once I talked to him, I said, man, we heard this was going on. We got the wrong apartment. He understood. Yeah, but things like that is what people act like we're just like we said in the beginning. People act like we just never screw up.
Right.
But we do.
Right, and we do. Right.
My man, Mike, where'd you go, bro?
All right.
Anyway,
all right.
Let's go. All right, y'all. But if you have any more questions, chime in. Any closing comments, Ray?
Just in general, and hopefully we can make this a continual thing. Like we've said that.
Right,
but I like the live aspect. That's pretty nice.
No, really, especially having people to talk to.
I just the only thing that I hope and pray for is that somehow, with all the divisiveness that's going on through the country. I think we're still fortunate here in Las Vegas. We have an excellent police department, one of the best in the country, best in the world, maybe. And we do our very best, our level best to do things the right way and to protect people. So I just wanted to send that message of defunding us and lack of training, and people are leaving and creating this sentiment where for young people, my son who wanted to be a police officer, I don't think I want to do it anymore because everything that's going on.
Did he tell you that recently?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, wow.
And I thought about it, and kind of like, I know it's a tough job, and I prefer in a sense that he'd be protected, so not to do it. But then on the other side of that, you have that fatherly, like, man, I would like to pin that badge on my son one day.
Man, that would be big, man.
And that's big. But and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you have to make your own choice in life. But
at least he's wise enough to see what's going on in the world.
Right.
Like, man, I don't know if
maybe it's not the right move, and I understand it completely. But there's still people I talk to, and a lot of young people, and people I meet at the university, and they still want to do a good job because they care about their community. And going to jail isn't the answer for everything. We know that, so we're big into community policing and helping people. And last week we helped a young girl who came in. She was homeless, and then she was on property. She was trespassing, and then they ended up enrolling her in school, and they found money, and they got her in, and they got her a dorm room. And we do a lot of things. We do a lot of things to help people, as opposed to just keep giving her citations or taking her to jail. It's not going to work. So we did something, and we actually helped the young person out. So remember that. Just if you pass on to your friends and you share this. We love what we did.
No doubt.
I love what I do.
No doubt.
And I can tell you right now, if he's out here on Boulder Highway at the Walmart and something's happening or somebody's doing something bad to something else, he's going to step in. And I'm going to step in too. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. I hope the guy's not too big. But I'm going to step in and do something, or at least create something where I can offset that person's mindset and maybe save somebody in a situation, maybe even that person himself, the one who's being aggressive.
The thing about it is, man, when it's in you, it's in you.
It's
to be an officer, to be out there and to be a public servant in whatever capacity you serve. It's a unique position that not everyone has that call. Like I knew I wanted to be in law enforcement when I was a teenager. Like I'm talking like 12, 13, 14 years old. Years old. I knew I wanted to be in that field. And that's why I always did things that were different. I joined the Army. I started doing martial arts when I was 16, 17 years old. I joined the Army, was a medic in the Army, raised my hand to volunteer to go to Desert Storm. Yeah. They asked for volunteers. I was like, I want to go. And got out, worked the prison system, worked the county jail, worked the streets. I was a bad shot. I practiced, ended up becoming a firearms instructor, improved. and did all these different things because I always had that mindset, man. If I'm somewhere and I can be the difference maker, whether someone goes home or not, someone that lives or not, I want to do that. Right. And even now, 7 years removed from me retiring, from my last time I put on the uniform or wore the badge, carried the badge, I still have that mindset. I still want to be a protector. Right. And I don't know if it'll ever go away fully. I think I'll still think like that when I'm an old man. If the Lord blesses me to live to be an old man, I think I'll still have that mindset of wanting to get involved, even though I may not physically be able to.
It's innate. You're kind of like it's in you. You're born with it. That's why I tell people this: if you don't want to be a police officer, I mean, you're doing it just because we get a good pension.
Yeah, you're in it for the wrong reason.
Wrong reason, man. Wrong reason. You got to love and you really got to want to help people. And so I guess the message is, I mean, if you have friends or people that have this. Again, we use the term anti-sentiment towards police. Remember, listen, have them chime in on the show and listen to us. We're like normal guys. We get it. People make mistakes. I mean, even sometimes we take people to jail. I mean, you get friendly with them. I'm just saying, hey, man, this is what you, bro, look, you beat your old lady up, you smacked her, you can't do that. I got to take you to jail. That's the way it is. Hey, I understand you're a human being. And I said, I get it. I mean, I've put my fist through walls, fight with the old lady at times. Didn't never hit her, but I get the anger, And so,
definitely.
It's a fact. So I just please try to get that message out that we're not the bad guys, and just to comply with us. Just when you stop by the police, just listen to what they tell you to do, and you always have that option. Like you said, they sue all the time, and that's why we have implied immunity. So if I stop somebody, like say for example, I stopped a lawyer, I don't know, a couple of years back in the West Side. He's a black gentleman, and he automatically said it was a racist stop. Anyway, I ended up arresting him because we had a struggle with him, and he was kind of big stick. And anyway, but so that's qualified immunity. So Metro took that case on, and they ended up giving him a little bit of money. But the reality was,
because it'd just be cheaper.
Right, it's called jogging while black. If you look it up on Google, you can see it. And it'll show me, and then this other.
Dang!
But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, jogging while black.
I haven't seen it yet.
Vegas. But nonetheless, it's just we can't. With all the encounters that we have over the course of years, there's going to be some negativity here and there. It's going to happen.
No doubt.
But I'll think of in a 25-year to 30-year span career, I'm thinking. And I can think of a lot of incidents that went south, and I mean, we really ended up fighting and struggling and almost shooting people, and I mean, some real heavy duty stuff. But in general, those are like almost like a handful of incidents. They're not. Yeah, they're rare. They're rare, and most of the time, we're just interacting with people. We're trying to make the community safe. We're doing traffic safety and pedestrian safety, and responding to calls. And we just want to go out there, help people any way we can, and just go home at night to our family. That's all we want to do.
No doubt.
And so please remember, when we take that oath, we take it seriously. I can tell you, I mean, to this day, no matter what, if for some reason they had a shortage in Metro right now, I said, listen, we need sergeants getting raised and we need you back, I'd go back. I'd probably go back because that's who I am. And based on your health or whatever, but if you could,
right. I talk to the family all the time. I'm like, there's a part of me. Some days, man, I really miss it.
Yeah. Because of this, I think.
Or watching videos and you see an officer in the mix. I'm like, man, I live for that, man. I'm serious. I mean, it's just like, man, I want to be out there, man. I want to be out there. I did a video. It should be coming out this week, maybe next week. It was a follow-up. This one officer got shot in New Mexico. And there was a follow-up video where you could see the body cam footage of the officer that pit the guy out. And man, he got shot, and then he got back in the fight.
Right.
And then the way all these officers swarmed around him after they found out he got shot, man, the concern they had for him, man. That's like, there's nothing like it, man. There's nothing like that. That community, that camaraderie that you have in that field.
True. And
then just the like you said earlier, man, just the feeling you have when you get the bad guy, when you arrest this idiot who's beating up his girlfriend or beating up his kid or whatever.
Or robbing somebody or whatever.
Yeah, when you get that dude and you get him off the streets, man, there's nothing like it in the world, man. There's nothing like it in the world. And like I said, I don't know if that'll ever go. But man, I can go on and on. I appreciate y'all being here and listening to us. I wanted to keep it around an hour and a half. We're like an hour and 40.
Right.
But hey, let's you know, I try to do these on a weekly basis. I try to do a live at least once a week.
Yeah, that's good.
And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the interaction. I appreciate y'all with the comments. I know we didn't get to as many as I would have liked. So hopefully next week we'll spend a little more time. Maybe we'll show a shorter video, Lord willing, next week, and we'll be able to do more interacting. I'm not going to ask him any more questions because he'll go on another 5 minutes. But man, we appreciate y'all being here. Continue with the comments because of, especially if you're on Facebook or obviously Facebook or YouTube. Yeah. Continue with the comments down below. I'll definitely go back and check them out and I'll interact with y'all, even if you disagree. Especially if you do it on a respectful level. Now, if you want to mock and just talk about criminals and all this condescending remarks, I'm not the guy to talk to. I'm not the guy to talk to. But if you want to disagree and you want to dialogue and you're open to learning, we can talk all day long. But if you act like you know it all, after I've determined that, conversation's over. But for anyone else who has questions or comments, feel free, comment down below. I will get back to you. As always, in the meantime, stay safe, God bless, and make sure you join the conversation. We out.
Take care.